Hey, what's up with it, guys? Hey, welcome back to another video. Now, this is going to be a shaman tips and tricks kind of guide here on two topics, one being totem twisting and two being snapshotting. Now, these aren't necessarily specific for resto. However, I do think these are the most impactful for resto, but they're definitely good things to know and understand how to use if you're playing Enhance or Ellie, because you can also utilize a lot of these tricks in different boss encounters and things like that to add a ton of extra utility, more than you might already be adding as a shaman. Now, first of which, let's go over totem twisting. Now, I have a couple things here worth mentioning. Is I have a weak aura. This is Luxthos. If you guys haven't seen any of his content, he has a lot of great weak auras for every spec and class. Really good weak aura clean packages he has set up. I'll link his website down below if you want to get something like this. But you can see here we have earth, fire, water, and air all next to each other. And depending on which totem I drop, it basically will swap on the weak aura. So it helps keep an easy visualized just duration of what totems are up at a given time. Now, in addition to this, you'll see here on the left-hand side, I have another weak aura that when I pop Wind Fury, it starts this timer. This bottom row will also tell me what current wind totem I have up. Not super necessary given the fact that I have this, but it just kind of doubles up and shows, and it will change icon as well when I drop a different totem. Now, when we're talking about totem twisting, there's a few different totems that you can twist. Generally, I would say maybe 80-85% of the time, you're going straight from Wind Fury into Grace of Air every 10 seconds. That's more or less what totem twisting is as far as being efficient with it. There's not really ever a need to twist any of our water totems, not really at all with our earth totems, with the exception of if you need to drop Tremor occasionally, but even then it's not really like a totem twist. It's just kind of just dropping different totems. Fire is the same thing. So the only time you're really doing this is with your air totems. Now there's two scenarios. The majority of the time, like I mentioned, Wind Fury straight into Grace of Air, and that's all you're doing. The other exception is if you have a caster heavy group. One thing that you can do if you have a prot paladin is that you can totem twist Wind Fury into Wrath of Air instead. So your entire caster group and the paladin will benefit from the spell power, and then you can go ahead and drop that Wind Fury because that will scale with his single target threat when it comes to things like Seal of the Righteousness and things like that. It will help a lot with his single target threat because of getting those procs, and it does scale really well with Seal of Righteousness because it's just based on autos. So you can be doing that as well. Less common, that's like a much more niche kind of thing, but you guys might have a group that does accommodate that. Now, when we're talking about twisting totems, if you're committed to doing this in a melee group consistently, I would suggest getting enough points down into the enhancement tree to get enhancing totems, because this means that you're going to always be having Strength of Air and then be basically going Wind Fury into Grace of Air. And this is a lot of extra value. It's like, it's basically like having free agility enchant on your gloves and free strength enchant on your gloves on every other person that's in your group. So it's a lot of actual added value over the course of a fight. This is going to make you use a lot of mana, and it is more global intensive. So if you're having to heal a lot, you're not going to be able to do this. But what you're basically going to be doing is you're going to be dropping Wind Fury, Grace of Air, and then you can see here I have maybe 4-ish globals that I can use on other things. So this is my third cast, fourth cast, 5 cast, Wind Fury, Grace of Air. And then I could do chain heals, and I'm going to obviously get less chain heals off because they're longer cast. We have a little bit of server lag, but you get the idea. You get a few casts, then you go ahead and drop Wind Fury, and then Grace of Air right away. So you basically drop Wind Fury straight into Grace of Air every 10 seconds, and that way you're maintaining this Wind Fury buff. Now, the other thing that's important to know about this is to be in proximity. You cannot be at 40-yard healer range from someone and be dropping Wind Fury and think that you're going to drop it here and he's going to get it over here, right? Your totems are shorter, so if you are doing this, you do need to be in a little bit, you don't have to be in melee range of the boss, but you need to be a closer proximity to the targets that you're trying to give Wind Fury to, because it's not going to reach from healing range. It's only like 25 yards, I believe. So that's just one other thing to keep in mind. But this is a ton of added value if you can do this to the tanks, for example, where they're getting Wind Fury and some added, value via the totems. And then you can have maybe your enhanced shamans that are giving a bigger buff to the DPS. That can be a really helpful way of kind of being, just contributing the best utility and really optimizing your raid in a lot of these situations. So that's something that I definitely highly recommend. Now, the last thing I wanted to mention is snapshotting. Snapshotting is a very big deal for Resto Shamans because of two specific spells. Earth Shield and Healing Stream both scale very, very well with Snapshotting. Now you can see here if I drop Healing Stream, this is with no Grace of Air, no trinkets popped or anything. It's healing for 131 every 2 seconds. Okay, so think of this as a 2-second heal over time that you're able to just maintain 100% of the time. The other thing worth mentioning about this is Healing Stream is 71 mana. It costs literally nothing. So for us to be able to maintain this over the course of a fight is basically free healing. Now, obviously you're not keeping down Mana Spring. So in situations that are much more mana intensive, you're going to want to keep Mana Spring down. It's also going to be important to understand when you're going to use Mana Tide because this will kill the snapshot basically. But what we're basically doing is buffing up as much spell power as we can temporarily, then casting Healing Stream and Earth Shield. And by doing this, we're basically going to have an amplified healing over the entirety of the Healing Stream totem and or your Earth Shield. So for example, I have about 1750 spell power right now, or bonus healing. I can get that up to like 2600 when I pop everything. I want to show you here as well the comparison with Earth Shield. So I'm trying to find a mob. So this is Earth Shield without any buffs, without anything. You can see it's healing for 848. It'll pop again here in just a second. 848, okay? Now, we got to kill this guy now. When I pop all these things, it's going to end up getting closer to like 1100. Quick math is it's about a 25% added value. So what I'm going to do here is I'm pop Wrath of Air, right? So that's that extra 101 spell power. Then I have a macro here that's my Orc Racial, both of my on-use trinkets, and you see we're just under 2600. Now that Healing Stream goes from 131 every 2 seconds to 181. It's pretty nuts. It's like a 35% heal increase. Now keep in mind this can be on both. This is giving yourself healing as well as 4 other people in your group. Now that 50 bonus healing that we're getting from this, keep in mind I don't have any like elixirs or food or anything like that, so this can get up even higher with my current gear. My gear is nothing super crazy. That extra 50 healing you're getting by snapshotting this is every 2 seconds over a 2-minute duration times up to 5 people. So this can be basically giving you 250 every 2, like another 100, 150 HPS in scenarios where you're actually able to utilize the healing of this effectively. Over a longer fight, this compared to Mana Spring is in that same ballpark, just times like 3 or 4, depending on how much you're able to do. So you can be getting an extra 300, 400 HPS off of using Healing Stream instead of using Mana Spring Totem if your group doesn't need all the mana. So in times where you maybe are totem twisting a melee group and maybe there's melee cleave damage, utilizing this snapshot technique with Healing Stream as opposed to using your Mana Spring Totem can be absolutely insane for basically free healing because of it costing 71 mana every 2 minutes. It costs nothing, right? Now our Earth Shield that we also cast on ourselves, you'll see here, let me fly up, here, let's grab this wolf here. It was healing for 800. Let me get the totems. So I have no totems down. Nothing popped, right? We're at 1749. And you can see I actually didn't see right there. Let's wait for it to pop. 1111. 1111. So again, it's another like 30-ish percent, 35% bonus value that you're getting on your Earth Shield. Now, obviously, Earth Shield, you're not going to be able to maintain this for 2 minutes like you will with the Healing Stream. However, in the majority of situations, it ends up basically being like every other or 1 in every 3 Earth Shields you can do this with as far as what lines up with your 2-minute cooldowns. Blood Fury if you're Orc, as well as these on-use trinkets if you were able to get the Brewfest one and the Essence of the Martyr. All of these can be popped at the same time. All of these share 2-minute cooldowns. Healing Stream lasts for 2 minutes, so you can see there's a lot of really good synergy if you're able to utilize these well. One last thing I want to mention with this is that you can also do this in a pre-pull type setting where I could basically say I want to go and we're going to go and getting ready to pull here. I can pop Earth Shield on the tank. I can drop my Healing Stream, and then I can go ahead and swap to like different trinkets, for example, right? You can see our Healing Stream is still going to tick for 180 the entire duration that it's up. Same thing with our Earth Shield here. If I drop like Wind Fury, you can see my healing is 1350. It's super low, and we can still basically keep all of that healing up if you want to swap for better in combat type trinkets and basically use these to snapshot at the beginning of a pull or downtime in between pulls, and kind of just have a massive earth shield that you're kind of refreshing whenever you're sitting there drinking and things like that. Definitely can get a little bit more min-maxy, but this is a really big value because if you do the snapshotting with a healing stream and earth shield, you virtually don't have to heal at all in like 5-man content for that duration, and it helps a ton on the opening of like a pull or something like that in raid environments as well. So there's a lot of added value. Really helps a lot when it comes to maximizing your HPS as a Resto Shaman. Again, you can utilize this same technique with Enhance or with Elemental if you want to end up doing this, and you can snapshot the same way with unused trinkets and things like that, no matter what the spec is. So hopefully you guys found this helpful. Let me know if you guys have any questions down below. Like I said, all the weak auras will be linked down in the description, and hopefully this helps you with your Shaman gameplay here a little bit. Thanks so much for hanging out, guys. I do appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.